Hey, man, what do you think about this new deal, man? AEW, man, is real.
All Elite Wrestling, they had the rally, the Double or Nothing rally a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, I'm sorry. A couple days ago in Jacksonville, Florida on Tuesday evening. And
what do you think about it?
I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed, man. I really was. I thought that they had their stuff together. It didn't.
Pac showed up.
Yes. Formerly known as Neville.
Yeah.
Pac was there, Cody, the Young Bucks. Of course, the Khan family, which are the new owners of All Elite Wrestling. You had Hangman Page. You had all the usual suspects.
They announced their first big show coming up.
Yes, Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Late May, I think it's May 25th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Yeah, man. I mean, Vegas first show. That's big.
Also, they announced StarCast 2 will be going on that same weekend. So another big convention for All Elite Wrestling. Should be pretty awesome out there. I know the first one was a big success. So they're coming in hot, Book.
Man, these guys coming in hot, man. Thing is, I've never seen anything like this before. I heard that quote right there, Mr. Foley. I can't remember where that quote came from, but I've never seen anything like this before. A company just literally, boom, pop up. Major players. A whole lot of money. TNA was built around a bunch of young guys that were unknowns. Per se, people knew about AJ, people knew about Joe Rude and whatnot. But those were guys that were, pretty much like homegrown talent. These are guys like saying we're starting an organization and we're signing big contracts. Do you want to be a part of it? It's a lot of guys out there saying, man, I think I can still go. If I'm not mistaken, I saw Raven on TNA last week.
Well, I don't know about that one. I didn't see that. And I like Raven. He was on the show. He was great on the show.
He was, man.
I don't want him to hypnotize me.
No, him and Tommy Dreamer was on TNA.
Impact?
Yeah, on Impact.
I didn't see that.
They were doing an angle with Eli Drake, and beat him up.
I like Eli Drake too.
Yeah.
I like all those guys.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's going to be a lot of guys
trying to get some
look,
bread.
Man, look. Hey,
I can still do it.
I can still go.
Well, so here are a couple of the players who have been announced now. One of the first agent / producer who's been signed to a contract. I found this really interesting. Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn's been signed, and he's going to produce be a backstage producer, produce the matches. I thought that was a good pickup.
Yeah, Billy Gunn, definitely a guy that knows his way around the business very, very well. He's a guy that can help so many of the young guys as far as, with just the small little bitty things. Billy Gunn's one of those guys that I had to get in the ring and, teach him a lesson. But
he was one of the guys when I was young, and I used to love to watch Billy Gunn because he felt like he was really killing somebody. Like when he would hit people, drop kick, beat them up, and he was always huge.
I think Billy Gunn, I remember we always talk about the one match him and I had. I think I got it down. I think I forgot the spot or whatever it was.
Okay, Tony Norris style.
It's all over the place. And he always messed with me about it, but he's a good friend.
People, here's the thing. Billy Gunn looks big on TV.
Oh, but
he's even bigger in
real
person.
Life, man. Yeah,
he's huge.
Oh, he's a big guy, man. He's a big guy. And like I say, he's a guy that could really teach the generation today what it means to work in a main event, platform, a main event spot. It's hard to tell a lot of these young guys what it's like, what it feels like, what it's supposed to feel like if you haven't been in that position. Billy Gunn, man, he's worked with a lot of the best, man. He's worked with most of the best. So that's a good pick.
It's a good signing. Now at the end of the press conference too, Chris Jericho. Who's been around, the Kenny Omegas. He's been working New Japan.
Yeah.
He had a cameo appearance at All In. He's been close with all these guys, but still branded a WWE guy. I mean, he was at the Greatest Royal Rumble. He was on Raw 25th anniversary. He was still around the company, but now he's signed an exclusive deal with All Elite Wrestling, and he says, I'm all in on AEW. And he's locked up, guaranteed deal.
Hey, man.
And he said in an interview yesterday, he said he was doing an interview with Bubba Dudley on the Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM, and he said he would not have signed a contract with AEW if there wasn't a television deal on the table. And he said when people hear the networks that are being talked about and the deals that are on the table, everyone's going to be like, oh, okay.
Like I say, man, this is literally this is a throwback, man. This is a Ted Turner moment. I mean, the Gunn family, they got that kind of money to actually get this thing started.
Can we hear it? What do they have booked?
Long green ducats.
They got long
green ducats. And the thing is, they can sustain this thing for, a long time. Maybe they can kick it off and it could become, all elite. Yeah, you know what I mean? No pun. That's what the business right now is. You know what I mean? And of course, WWE, they've done it for a long time, man. They're like Coca-Cola. They're not going to change anything. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing. And people want to see it, man. But people do want to see something different.
They want an alternative.
People do want to see it. And that's what made it so great back in the day when WCW and WWE and ECW was all running, man. It was so much going on. The business was great. You know what I mean? The money I was making back then, man, I'm talking about Mercedes-Benz money, man. I'm talking about long green jack. And my thing is this. Like I say, publicly traded company, WWE they're there. They're not going anywhere. Those guys that's on the roster, and there's so many of them, even in NXT,
it's the most talented roster in the world.
WWE can't sign everybody. And the thing is, these guys, it's a lot of guys out there on the circuit. They need places to work. WWE cannot sustain every wrestler in the world that want to do this.
Right.
Male and female, it's no way. You know what I mean? So to be able to capitalize off of it, make the business grow even more, make that competition step up even more, the wrestlers know what they got to do now. You know what I mean? It really becomes more than just a job. It becomes, a competition. It becomes a lifestyle. It becomes, I remember, coming from WCW over to WWE. It was a real war, man. It was one of those things to where, when I looked at a WWE guy, I didn't like that guy. When that WWE guy looked at a WCW guy, they didn't like that guy. When I walked into that locker room in WWE, it was some tension there. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to be better than those guys in the locker room when I was on the other side. Now they're looking at me wondering, who is this guy? He could be a spy. We can't trust him. He's got to earn this trust. So I'm going to tell you right now, with the influx of, the way the independent world is, All In Wrestling, New Japan Wrestling, ROH, WWE, Reality of Wrestling, man, the wrestling world right now, I don't think it's been fatter since the early to mid 90s. I really don't. Because back then, like I say, NWA, AWA, WCW, WWE. You got so many wrestling companies, that was ECW here in the United States, that flourished, you know what I mean, in so many different ways.
Do you think, though, Chris Jericho adds legitimacy to the company? Do you think it's something that because here's the thing, a lot of WWE guys who are WWE fans, that's what I mean, fans, like me, for a long time, I'd never heard of the Young Bucks. I'd never heard of Kenny Omega. I was a WWE guy. I watched WWE. Chris Jericho, I've seen my whole life. So if I were to hear, like with TNA, I remember flipping through channels one day and I saw Scott Hall was on TNA. I never heard of TNA. I didn't know who AJ Styles was. I knew who Scott Hall was. So I stopped and I watched and I was interested. Like when you and Kevin and Hulk and all y'all went over to TNA, I was interested in TNA.
Yeah.
Hearing Jericho is in another wrestling company that's in the United States, I feel like it adds legitimacy, and I feel like it would bring in a group of fans who would be like, oh, Jericho's in there?
Hey, man. The way I look at it, it's almost like, I remember in my Hall of Fame speech I said, when we got Sherry Martel, you know what I mean, we feel like we finally got our legitimizer. You know what I mean? Somebody that put us on the map. We had to say nothing more than Sherry Martel. We rode with her. And doors open. she made us, viable. She made us, people look at us and say, man, these guys may have what it takes to be the next tag team champions. And I tell you, just that alone, was the spark behind the flame, and with Chris Jericho behind this thing, that's the legitimizer, man. That's saying, hey, man, we got a major player that's done it all over the world, as well as Chris Jericho is that teacher. He's that guy that's going to say, hey, guys, we need to do it this way. He's not going to just be a guy along the ride, picking up a check. These young guys are trying to, carve their own niche, man. And I tell you, more power to them, for, taking a shot at it. And the Gunn family for, getting behind this thing and these guys taking a shot at it. Because, like I say, it's room, and the thing is, sink or swim, man. People want good entertainment, and they're gonna have to deliver now as well. All the talking is gonna stop now. We know what kind of product New Japan put on. We know what kind of product WWE put on. Let's see what kind of writers these guys are. Let's see if they can really. People talk about a 52-week show, a year show, and putting that thing together, and guys going out there and being on the same page. We're talking about guys getting injured. We're talking about guys getting hurt and not being able to work. We're talking about guys just becoming disgruntled because certain things don't happen. We're talking about guys who want to be at the forefront. That's not. I mean, we're talking about anything can happen when something like this. When you're in a business, and it's a bunch of friends, man, let me tell you something. Anything can happen. I wish these guys a lot of luck, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, and I think that they're aware of that. And like you said, you know the Bucks, you know Cody, and I think that the fact that they've pulled off as much as they can together. And not had, and when the Bucks were on here, they said when they were putting all in together, they disagreed all the time.
Exactly my point.
But they wouldn't move forward until all three people agreed. And I'm hoping, and I'm sure.
Well, now you got more than three people.
You got more than three, but we'll see what happens. I'm like I said from the get-go, when I first heard All Elite Wrestling, like we talked about on the podcast last week, we're talking about on the air right now. I was optimistic, and I continue to be. I think they're going to pull this thing off. Is it going to be a success straight out of the gate? I don't think so. I think it's going to have to build, like anything has to build. You look at what we have out in reality wrestling, what we have in our studio. This wasn't done overnight. This was done over a course of a long period of time and trial and error and figuring out our mistakes and moving forward. So I wish those guys nothing but the best, and I hope to be at that first show, at the Double or Nothing show. We might have to figure out about this StarCast book. We might have to do some stuff out. I'm just throwing that out there. There might be some long green ducats to be made out there.
I tell you, man, having the Bucks on the show here, those guys definitely are well wise beyond their age. I tell you that. They see the business in a different way, and I definitely respect that. And like I said, there again, they're carving their own niche. All Elite Wrestling is here, guys. The question is All Elite Wrestling here to stay?